Welcome to the Entrepreneurs at Scale podcast, the podcast where we go behind the scenes with founders who built real businesses through real pressure and scale them with purpose. Today, I'm joined by
Yes.
Luke Dejahang, founder of Crown Pavilions, one of the UK's leading luxury garden room and pavilion manufacturers. Luke's journey is anything but conventional, from a career in TV and acting to training as a carpenter to starting Crown Pavilions with virtually no investment and growing it from a small workshop into a premium brand known for quality and craftsmanship. We also talk candidly about the realities of scaling a high barrier, operationally intense business and the personal hardships Luke has faced, including the loss of his business partner and the resilience it took to keep building. So, Luke, very warm welcome to today's show.
Thank you very much, Neil. It's lovely to be here, and thank you to your listeners for joining us,
Thank you.
and your viewers
Yeah.
for joining us. So lovely to be here.
So let's go back to 2005, 2006, when you set up the company. What was the spark for Crown Pavilions and why garden rooms and gazebos?
So the spark, it started back in 2005, 2006.
Yeah.
I met my business partner, who, as you mentioned, is very sadly no longer with us.
Yeah.
I met him on a building site, and the business came about from me being a new carpenter on a building site, and my business partner actually one day coming up to me at the end of the day and telling me, showing me what I could do better to speed up my work and keep up with the quality and the efficiency. And I took it in the spirit that it was meant, as somebody trying to help me out. He obviously saw a flaw in my game, and I was open, and I said, right, yeah, show me. And he pulled out his jig and he put it up against the door and he routed out the hinges, and it was just a beautiful job. And he did it so fast that I just looked at it and I thought, oh goodness. And what do I look like walking around with a box of marble chisels? So and that was it. I mean, that it was, I think it was on a Wednesday or Thursday. On that Friday, we went to the pub, we sat down, we had a chat, and as you do on a Friday after work on a building site. And one thing led to another. We had more more advice was coming from him to me over the next few weeks. And then every week we'd go and sit in the pub and talk. And it was a few weeks after that we decided that what, maybe this was something we could do ourselves. And that's how it came about. And then we thought, what, let's start a business together. And it was as simple as that. And one thing led to another, and here we are today, over 20 years later.
Amazing. So you set out to create the world's finest garden rooms. Why aim so high from that, from such an early start?
I think if in all honesty, Neil, that's part of my DNA and my makeup. If I do something, I want to be the best that I can be. I want to be the best that I can be, and by default, I always want to set my standards really high, and why not the world's finest? We started at the UK's and we thought, what, if it's the UK's, I believe we've got some of the best trades and the best quality in the UK, and I've been fortunate enough to travel to numerous countries, and I think our quality here is world class. So why not the world's finest?
Why not? And you remind me then of an author I often reference called Jim Collins, who wrote the book Good to Great. And he has what he calls the Hedgehog principle. And one of the parts of the Hedgehog principle is, what can you be the best in the world at? What can you be the best of the world? What niche are you going to dominate? So it sounds right from the outset that was something right heart and center of where you were heading. And then also the other part of it is, what are you deeply passionate about? What fuels your engine? What fuels your why around that? So describe the early days. You had your meetings in the pub and you said, right, we're going to do it now. What were the early days like in that barking workshop? And what did a brutal week actually look like for you both?
Well, saying you're going to start a business and then starting a business and then in your own mind saying, when you've literally, you haven't got a pot to throw a penny in,
Yeah.
and you say, right, we're going to do this, and we want to be the best. We want to do the best, and then the hard work starts, and then the real hard work starts because saying it is one thing, and then you got to believe it, and then you got to go about putting those things into place.
Yeah.
So the first thing we had to do was raise a bit of money, and that came about by going and sitting in front of a bank manager in Borough. Lovely gentleman, actually. And in
Yeah.
fact, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have started the journey. And he was he was backing us, but we were sitting in front of, I don't know, four or five different people. I can't remember who was in the room. Um, but it was, the spotlight was on us, and we were applying for a £10,000 loan. And we had to go through all these gauntlets, and I had to prepare a business plan, and it was quite a daunting affair, because I knew that if we didn't get that first 10K, it was going to be difficult. Certainly not beyond the wits of man. I think we would have found a way to do it, but it was that little lifeline that we needed to take us to the next
Yeah.
stage. So we got that money, and then we went and rented a little workshop in Barking, and it wasn't a very nice place, let's say now.
Right.
It was rather dire.
Yeah.
Um, but we just applied ourselves. We had a few little bits of machinery. We had a friend of ours who used to go and do deliveries. He had a long wheel base van. I can't remember what it was, a Sprinter or something.
Mm.
And he'd go and do his deliveries, and then at 6 in the morning, he'd finish, come and drop his van off to us, and we had this one sort of rickety old van, and then we'd load up, and then go out and do the jobs. So and that went on for some time, and then slowly, bit by bit, perseverance, perspiration, hard work, early mornings, late into the evening, working, swallowing lots of dust as you do.
Mm.
We just, one step at a time, built the business, and acquired more customers. And one thing we always stayed true to was quality, maintaining the value that we were offering to our customers, and placing our customers at the forefront of our business.
Mm.
That was for me the holy grail. That was the one. I remember we had to go and pick something up from overseas because there was a part missing, and we had to go over to Germany to get this I don't know what part, to what, I can't even remember what it was. But we had to travel, and we went all the way to Germany, and we drove. We did this long road trek to pick up some machinery and some parts, and we got there, and I think we'd been driving, barely legal hours, I shouldn't say, but it was
Yeah.
it was more than
Yeah.
it was a long drive. Let's just say that it was a very long drive.
Yeah.
So we get there, we get our stuff, and coming back, and the installation was on a Monday, and we get back, and we'd been traveling for days, and we get back, and the installation was on a Monday at 9 a.m., and I think we got there at like 10 past 9, and the client wasn't happy, and I just said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, we're 10 minutes late. We're so sorry." And they said, "Well, look, you're 10 minutes late." And I said, "Look, it's our mistake. We'll make up for it." And in my head, I was thinking, if only you knew what it took me to get here. It felt like a week's
Goodness.
worth of travel.
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely customers. In the end, they were really happy. But it just goes to show that in business, people don't care about your problems or what you're going through. It's like, we pay for a product, we pay for a service. Show up. The show must go on, and that's what we did. So um, I don't blame anyone. You pay for a product or service, and it's our job to deliver.
Yeah. Great, great story, Luke. I guess right from the outset, you're pretty much like a lot of bootstrap founders doing everything, designing, selling, building, delivering, going halfway across Germany, installing. What nearly broke first, really, as the demand grew for your services?
Um, I think, as you start scaling up and you start getting more customers and uh, you start getting more inquiries, that you can feel that pressure cooker vibrating more and more
Yeah.
because there's only so much bandwidth, any human being has. There's only so many installations and sales and administration that you can do yourself. So one of the first things that I ascertained when things were falling and dropping was that we really, really needed to, if nothing else, invest in a good accountant. So for me, that was probably the most important thing, and it took some time. But when you've got a control of your numbers and you're on top of your numbers, that for me was a crucial part of the business, because if you're not on top of the numbers and you're not on top of your costs and you're not on top of your margins and
Yeah.
and your everything to that involves the costs of business and the costs of trading. If you're not on top of that, um, it's a tough gig and it won't
Yeah, no,
last.
it's great. Sage advice. So you came from the world of acting. I think when we spoke before the show, you were sort of been on London's Burning, a few other shows. What did the world of acting teach you? And how do you think that made you better in business?
I think as a child, being somewhat introverted and shy, I speak to people now and they say, "Can't believe you. You seem pretty confident." And I think that was an acquired skill over years and years of working on myself, and the acting was a part of that journey
Yeah,
of finding a voice, of being able to articulate, what's in my head and how I want to convey a message or convey anything. So the acting certainly helped with that. It gave me a better command of the English language and
yeah,
vocabulary, and expressing oneself is so important. You have words, and if you can't express yourself with words, you're in trouble.
yeah.
So that for me, the acting helped me in all manners of business, because it gave me the confidence. It gave me the confidence to be able to pitch an idea, not only to pitch an idea to a prospective customer,
Yeah.
but to pitch an idea to investors, the bank, and probably, now I look back, probably one of the most important pitches is conveying my ideas to my own team. Because if my team doesn't believe in what I'm saying, you can't force people to join you. And I don't believe in following. I don't expect anyone to follow me. Follow your own dharma, follow your own dreams and aspirations. But if somebody wants to join me on this journey, then I've got to be able to convey my ideas in such a way uh, that they get it, they understand it, and they want to be a part of that success and growth, and we all win together.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I think some of the great leaders I've met and worked with, are great storytellers and are able to articulate a clear vision of where they're heading and why that's really important and just bring people with them. And so I absolutely get that. And so you met your business partner, and we just talked a bit about that. What are the sort of things that you kind of believed allowed you to really trust each other? And how did you then sort of build that trust, not just trust that, but also recognize that you had or didn't have different strengths and weaknesses? And how do you design out who was going to do what in the organization?
I think the trust element was there from day one between myself and my incredible business partner, Mende.
Yeah.
The trust was there from day one.
Okay.
And from that very first moment where he was helping me and showing me how to improve,
Yeah.
um, there were areas that might have been you know my strong, not strong points, but stronger points,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I've been working on those what I thought were maybe my strengths over the years, the last 20 years. That's evolved and improved. So when I look back now in hindsight, I'm like, gosh, I really, I don't know much now. I knew even less then. But it's that continuous journey of improvement. Now, going back to your question of the trust, that trust was there from day one. So
Yeah.
what I brought to the table in that trust was my ability to convey an idea,
Yeah.
to come up with some different ideas of where we could take the products and where the gaps maybe were in the market. And my business partner Mende, he was an incredible carpenter and joiner. And I always, I say to all of my team, you can have a product or a service that you market really, really well. You can market it really, really well. But unless the actual product and the service stacks up, and unless that product or service delivers on whatever your message is, whatever that message is, unless it delivers and you hit and unless you hit the mark, you were just a great marketing story,
Yeah.
because eventually it will catch up.
Yeah.
So that's where the trust came, and the trust from one business partner to another, one friend to another, one professional to another was, look, I'm gonna do everything to make sure that you know our marketing, our front facing, our customer services, our punctuality, our discipline, our integrity, all these things, you know, and we don't always get it right. So don't get me wrong, now there's plenty of mistakes that I've made over the years, but the intention has always been there to deliver those things that I aspire to deliver.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, my business partner, his part of it was to make sure that everything that I'm saying, you know, you're going to help me back it up.
Yeah.
And boy, did he do that, and some,
Yeah.
and some, and some.
Wow.
You
Yeah.
know, he was the stronger part of the partnership, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
So it's to be said right at the beginning of the show, unfortunately, your business partner sadly passed away. What was the immediate impact for you? I guess both emotionally and operationally when that happened, and how do you continue with the business?
Well, that was no doubt in my mind whatsoever the hardest thing I've ever gone through in my life. And I'm knocking on 50s in the next year or two.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so for me, that's the hardest thing that I've ever been through. But there's so many people in the business, people around me that have supported me, and without them, no, I couldn't have continued with the business. But I've got such an incredible team around me, that it was because of them that we can continue. Because Mende and myself always instilled in the entire company that this is
Yeah.
a team effort,
Yeah.
and um, you know, goodness forbid, if something happened to me, I've got no doubts there'll be other people in the business that can continue and strive and grow and do great things. So I think the brand now is, it's got lots of good people in the business.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, there's no denying it was the most difficult thing I had to go through. But what I learned out of that experience, and I'm still learning from that experience, is that you know you're going to have lots of tests and challenges in life that really, really are going to test your mettle, really going to test you. And you can break, you can fold, or you're going to have to face it, face your fears, face those challenges. And now I'm at that stage where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give it everything, and what will be will be.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
What will
very
be
good.
will be.
What
What
will
will
be?
be will be.
Okay, Sarah, Sarah.
Yeah, what will be, will be. We'll give it
Yeah,
our best. We won't let them
yeah,
get us down. We won't let them get us down. I'm not going to swear.
yeah. No, I'd imagine, did you say what that kind of built out that resilience, and if anything, could have made you stronger and a desire to, push on and do things. So you also mentioned you've got an incredible team at Crown Pavilions. How do you go about building and shaping an incredible team? What does that look like? What are the key lessons from that?
For me, the first thing is when I sit down and I interview every single person in the business myself with my team.
Hmm.
And the first thing for me is in that process of sitting down, looking someone in their eyes and vice versa, and seeing if you have a connection,
Yeah.
a human to human connection. That for me is the instinctive bit that is one of the, I guess, one of the skills that I've developed over the years is when I'm sitting down and talking to someone and just finding out who they are as a person.
Yeah.
And sometimes people apply for a job that on their CV might not even be, I mean, they have to have some experience and I've got to see something,
Mm.
uh, I'm not going to hire a doctor to do a carpenter's job, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, but it's they've got to have something that's related to the job. But at the same time, as importantly, not necessarily more importantly, but as importantly, I want to know who the person is because it's those people that are going to be in that team. So I'd rather start with the raw ingredients, knowing what I'm going to end up with, than straight away I meet somebody and my instinct tells me maybe we're not the right fit for each other.
Yeah.
So when I feel I've got the right fit, then we go about the work. I've got this lovely young gentleman I've just hired from Northern Ireland, and he's in his early 20s, and I'm personally mentoring him uh, um, when he's at the shows. My son was at the shows coaching him, and then we've got a few other really good people coaching him, and he's got so much tenacity and energy. He makes me feel as though, and I am getting a bit older now, but um, he reminds me of that energy that I had in my early 20s where it's just go, 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 go. And I've still got some energy now, but I look at him and it makes me feel tired because he's just like he's like a God bless him. He's like a bouncing Tigger. But it's great though. It's
Yeah.
great. And I said that to him and I celebrate that. And I said, do you know what, Brian? Your energy is infectious. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Never lose that.
Yeah.
Don't lose that energy. Now we need to hone it.
Lovely story. Well, they say as well that actually chief CEO could be the chief executive officer, but it's probably more importantly to be the chief energy officer. The person
Yeah.
who brings energy to an organization.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get your energy from people around you. How else do you get your energy so that you can drive the business forward?
I think having something bigger than myself is
Yeah.
is really, really probably my biggest driver. And when you've got something more important than yourself, in my world, my family, my colleagues at work, uh, their families, there's a lot of responsibilities.
Yeah.
So I put them, and I see them as for me. This isn't just a personal thing. That's what gives me my energy. Is because there's lots of people that are, looking for direction. They want to be a part of the winning story, and the buck stops with me. And I take responsibility. If it goes wrong, it's on me. I don't blame my team. If it goes wrong, I say we have meetings. If something goes wrong, I say, look, if you're going to blame anyone, you blame me. Because if those decisions that have been made, it's it can be a lonely journey sometimes, a lonely road, but you've got to be able to take it on the chin.
Yeah, definitely. How would you describe the culture at Crown Pavilions?
I would say it's a culture of hard work. Everybody
Yeah.
knows. Everybody knows that my mantra is hard work. I'm a big believer in hard work. not least because and I'm not just saying this to put myself down, because I work hard, um, but I don't rely on just talent. I believe, and I say to all of my team, look, I've seen so many people over the last however many years in more than one industry with lots of talent, but they've either given up, they've they've gone down a different path, or they haven't achieved their full potential. They had talent, so what? If you don't have that hard work and that work ethic.
What exactly do Crown Pavilions do? What? Just describe some of these beautiful buildings that
Thank
you craft, and what sort of
you.
people, how does that have an impact on people's lives?
Well, thank you for asking.
Yeah,
So, Crown Pavilions, we've coined the phrase the world's finest garden rooms and luxury gazebos,
yeah,
the mark of excellence. So, in the name of the company, and the world's finest garden rooms and luxury gazebos, the mark of excellence, that embodies everything that I stand for and the business stands for.
yeah.
So, we design, we manufacture, we deliver, and we install luxury wooden gazebos that have got canvas side panels and heaters, and you can use all year round. And it's I always say these buildings are wonderful for creating and making memories with your loved ones, your friends, and your families. Whether it's sitting there and watching the football, whether it's watching the tennis, whether it's reading a book, whether it's we've got these beautiful smokeless barbecues now, whether you're sitting in there and cooking and eating together. I had a lovely client the other day, and I thought, oh, this is the dream. They sent me a message and they said, hi there, just wanted to say, we'd like to order some more canvas side panels in a different color, so it darkens the room. We in this heat wave that we've just had, we've actually been sleeping out in the pavilion in the evenings. And I just thought, oh wow, this is a new use. We've just found another use.
Sleeping
Sleep out in your
pavilions,
pavilion when we have heat
sleeping
waves.
pavilions. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Well, I can
that so that's
imagine.
on
Yeah,
the pavilion side. And then we design, manufacture, and install beautiful garden rooms that I think they are at the you know I love what we do, and it gives me great joy in creating these beautiful garden rooms that are fully insulated. We've just introduced triple glazing as standard. We're the only company in the UK that offers triple glazing as standard. We offer smart air conditioning in the buildings. We've got lots of different choices of internal materials on the walls. The beauty with these garden rooms is that you can use it as a home office, a gym, you can use it, games room, music studio, Pilates studio, yoga studio. There's so many different uses. But now what we're also doing is we're manufacturing, delivering, and installing more and more buildings for people that want to either live in them or have it as an annex where they can have their parents, their children. And since the cost of living crisis and the way the pandemic changed the way we live our lives, literally, during that time, we've just reimagined everything from working to how we use our homes, how to creating our own spas and gyms in our own houses, because we just want to have all of that in one place. So it's opened up all these different opportunities. But one thing which always must remain is the mark of excellence. So whether we are creating buildings that are at the more entry level of our offering, or the mid level, or our ultra luxury, higher spec, they all are designed and manufactured in the same way by the same people with the same care and attention to detail. It
right.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're spending 10,000, 100,000, or a million. It makes no difference to me. And I instill that in my team. I say, look, if somebody is spending a penny with you, that's hard earned money.
Yeah.
So you respect that. You respect people's hard work, because this is something that a lot of people. Some people, they've got so much money, and it's like, yeah, I'll have that. But the most of us work hard, and any those people with plenty of, they've also worked very hard. Um, Most of them. So the thing is, regardless of how wealthy you are, or whether you've got 5,000 or 10, it makes no difference to
Yeah.
us. We treat everyone the same, with the same respect and integrity. And I think
Now,
that's what's really carried us forward as a brand.
one of the things that I guess sets you apart as well, and what I think coming across is your passion around this continuous improvement um, all the time. What does this look like in practice? I mean, how do you go about you systemizing continuous improvement?
Every single day, there is something that pops up that I look at and I go, still more improvement, still more improvement. Every single day,
Mm.
7 days a week. Neil, it sometimes gets really tiring. But
Yeah.
every single day, there's an opportunity to do things better,
Mm.
to improve every single day. And I don't think that's even in business. I think that goes for anything you do.
Yeah.
There is always an opportunity. It's how you see it. So I'm always looking at, many years ago, I used to really beat myself up when things went wrong. And if I've got any regrets, that would be one of them. Beating myself up, and myself and Mende, we used to really take it hard when things went wrong. And what I've learned now, I don't beat myself up, and I don't blame anyone else. I say, look, here's an opportunity for us to do it better. And that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Great lesson. Great lesson. Now,
That's it. It's as simple as that.
what's your vision or your vivid vision for the next 3 years for Crown Pavilions? And I guess on that front, what is winning look like for you?
So the next 3 to 5 years for me, it's about continuous growth, year on year growth,
Yeah.
market share,
Yeah.
continuing to. I've got lots of products and ideas, and one of them, for instance, is an offshoot of Crown Pavilions, which is the next thing. I maybe we'll have another get together at some
Yeah.
point where there's something more to talk about. But going into the hospitality space um, with our pavilions and garden rooms, because they're such beautiful buildings that people are enjoying throughout the United Kingdom now, and in over 28 countries now. We've got
Yeah.
our buildings in over 28 countries.
Wow.
I believe that the next 3 to 5 years will see us continuing to add more um, offerings within the genre.
Yeah.
Whether it's ancillary products that complement our core products, or whether it's expanding our core product range. And I think it'll be a combination of the both. I think there will
Yeah.
be an expansion of core product range. I think there will be ancillary products, offshoots that complement our products. And at the same time, I think we will go into the space whereby we can offer. I'm really getting into this whole thing, the wellness space, and I'm in talks at the minute with some global players, in fact, in the wellness space, and we're in talks to do something interesting, and I'm very excited about that. It's a bit premature to say anything right now,
Okay.
but the wellness space is an area that we're going to go into. It's always been something that's been part of my life, from whether it's martial arts training, or whether it's uh, taking spinning classes in a former life, where I went and retrained as a personal trainer and a spinning teacher to make ends meet, I might add.
Uh-huh.
But but there's all those and it's coming full circle now, because I think that the wellness space Long gone are the days where I'd go out drinking, partying, and clubbing. So my compass has changed now, and
Yeah.
it's anything to do with nature, anything to do with dog walks, anything to do with well-being. That's really where what I get my enjoyment from now. So I think we're going to push more into the wellness space to answer your question in the next 3 to 5 years, and we're gonna see what we achieve in that space.
Yeah, no, it's really powerful. And yeah, we'll put the link to the Crown Pavilions website within the show
Thank you,
notes so our listeners can just see how beautiful they are.
thank you so much. Thank you.
And also, as you say, I think you know you're branching out into other businesses on the build side as well now, and you know, and it's I guess that's continually innovating and listening like to where the trends are taking and where that provides opportunities. And that's business, isn't it? It's just continuing what trends are happening in the market. How do we make sure that we are aligned to those trends and we are making products or services that people find, as part of their value proposition.
Absolutely, absolutely. Specification, value at a price which hopefully exceeds people's expectations and
Yeah,
offers real world value. So
yeah,
absolutely, I agree with all of those things, and that's what we're going to strive to do
yeah.
going forward for the next 3 to 5 years, and the rest of it is it's a crystal ball. Who knows?
Exactly.
Who knows?
Exactly. Yeah, someone will. But I think
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
it's as
We're
we
going to
said
give it
at the
our
top
best
of the
shot.
show. Yeah, but it is all about, your role as a leader is to have that vision, and clarity about where you're heading and then have the energy to take people along the journey. And that's if we could have more people who have got a vivid vision and that energy, then the world would probably be a better place. Certainly if we have more wellness studios as well, that sounds amazing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um,
Wellness, positive uh,
Definitely, yeah.
vibes and energy. This is it's so important. And when you're in that headspace, you give more to people when you meet them.
Yeah,
You give a better energy, and then you get better out of them, and then it's a circle, and then and it's
100%.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, final few questions, Luke. Firstly, knowing what you know now, what do you wish you knew when you were first starting out in business?
Not to be so hard on myself and and those around me when things go wrong.
Hmm.
I think that's a great lesson of humility that I've learned over the years. That people, everyone's got their own limits, and
Yeah,
it's identifying those limits. And when someone hits their limit, you if they want to go beyond that limit and they want to grow, because the only way you grow is you hit a limit, you experience some discomfort, and
yeah,
then you grow, and then you're it's like going into the gym, and then next time you do a little bit more. But it's about knowing that everybody has their own limits, and every single person, especially when you got a company with the number of people that we have, every single person is their own being. So I now I'm a lot more I'm a lot more tolerant, and also um I hope uh, uh, support the growth and well-being of my team. So and again, I think that's maturity. I think 20 years ago I knew the concept, but sometimes I take things really hard when it went wrong because I was so desperate. I was so
yeah,
desperate to do it well for our customers. But now when it goes wrong, I'm like, hey, you know what? Look, we'll fix it.
yeah, yeah.
We'll fix it.
How many have you got in your team now?
So over we're in over three countries. We've got
Mm.
close to, I don't know, 100 people, something like this.
Nice. Very good. Final question. What book are you reading or audiobook are you listening to at the moment?
So 10x is another audiobook that I'm listening to now. Wonderful, wonderful book. And and it follows the simple principle that of, to succeed, you got to put 10 times the effort.
Yeah.
10
Yeah.
times the effort. Everything you do, 10 times the effort.
Who's the author? Can you remember?
I feel
We'll,
really, really embarrassed.
no, no,
You,
we'll
you,
find
you,
out. We will find out. I've got it as well somewhere in my library, and I can't remember either. So
yeah, I'm so sorry. I should remember the
no,
author's
no, no,
name.
we'll find out. We'll put that on show
Um,
notes as well. But it's a really, really powerful resource. Again, not just about your mindset, but also, there's some practical tools there to help you really 10x your business. And when we're on the Entrepreneurs at Scale podcast, this is what it's all about. How do you go about 10xing your business? How about 100x from where you were?
no, it's not. Excuse me. It's not a crypto. It's not a cryptocurrency.
But
if
it's a
I can, if I
mindset.
can 10x, that's me done. No, don't worry
Yeah, I
about
bet.
100. That's
Yeah.
the next book. How do you 100x it?
How do you
I
100x? Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Luke, many thanks for joining us on today's show. It's been
It's
actually a pleasure having you on. So many great
it's my
learnings.
pleasure.
And just see obviously that overcoming that massive setback you've had, the way that you continue to pioneer these great, beautiful buildings, this desire for continuous improvement, the hunger and the energy that you brought about. Yeah, it's truly motivational. So thank you so much.
Neil, if I can also say, again, very humbled, grateful, and honored that you've got me on your show. Thank you very much. And a massive thank you to your viewers and your listeners as well for giving us that time. So I do appreciate it. Thank you.